This is the Inspection Pros Podcast, where we break down everything you need to know to grow a successful home inspection company. Join host Jake as we get insider knowledge from the industry's best on how to take your business to the next level.
Welcome back to the Inspection Pros Podcast. Today, I am happy to be joined again by Istvan Zsako. And today, Istvan is here to join us to talk about how to build relationships and to get more referrals and automate it. So we're very excited to have you here today, Istvan, to bring this great information from a presentation you did recently. So could you tell us a little bit about that? Where was this presentation put together for, and where was it debuted?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'd like to say thank you for having me back, Jake. It's always a pleasure to be here with you. The presentation was last week in Orlando at the conference there out in Orlando, and I got an opportunity to share. And what I was sharing about is how to build relationships with agents. This could be used with any industry too, because you want to build relationships with clients. You want repeat business. If it's a referral partners, you want to get every referral that they have. You want to build that relationship. People love to work with someone that they know, like, and trust. So building that relationship is really key, rather than just focusing on, well, I have the most awesome product, or I'm the best at this, and people don't like you or they don't know you. They may not be referring you or buying your product because they're just not sure who you are. And you may have the answer, their solution, but they don't know you.
So how is this something you discovered? Is there a story or a metaphor?
I guess yes. There a lot of my marketing when I started, I thought I was doing a lot of organic, and I would say that, yeah, probably a lot of it was organic, but what I didn't realize till later on, till understanding, like, say, a great book, great reference for everybody, the 7 Levels of Communication, great reference. And once I read that, I was like, wow, okay, that gave me a different perspective of what I can do for marketing and what I had been doing. And a lot of my marketing at the beginning of most of my business was trying to engage with somebody one-on-one. And that is like one of the top things that you can do to build a relationship. The only thing is you can't do that with 100 people all at the same time.
Yeah.
So that's where I kind of stumbled upon this. Well, how do I build relationships with people? And then to add on top of it, we had COVID hit. It's like, oh my gosh, now I really can't go and engage with people. I can't have coffee. I can't do a presentation in front of a group of, my prospects, like the clients or agents that I want to be getting in front of. So what do I do now? And that's where I came upon this, this idea of building relationships on different levels and automating it too, so that I can build relationships with more people and at the same time. And some people you'll go after and they never want to work with you. You could spend time calling and trying to set up appointments and nothing happens. But what if you automated all of that so that you're not constantly pursuing these people, and the ones that want to work with you, when they finally have seen you enough, gotten enough communication from you and trust you, they start coming to you instead of you chasing after them.
And it's very interesting to me. I'm excited to get into it because it sounds counterintuitive. We're going to automate building personal relationships. How? Like that does sound counterintuitive, but it's interesting, and I'm sure that we're going to get into how you do it, and I'm sure it was all born of having to pivot from what you were just talking about, whether it be COVID or growth. It's a function of growth. You need to be able to build more relationships as you're growing. I'm just very curious.
Well, I would like to add, because you had that one point. When people hear automated, first thing they think is, oh, I don't like those emails I get where they're constantly trying to sell me stuff and it's so impersonal.
They assume it's less personal.
And there is a little bit of, there's a little bit of it, but you got to work in touch points that are personal. That's a ticket. Some touch points are just to get in front of them, and then other touch points are a little more personal, engaging, so that it's not just the real simple touch points that are not personal. And on top of that, it's how you write stuff too. Are you bringing value to the conversation, or are you just trying to tell them, use me, I'm the best, don't use anybody else? We don't want to hear that message. That's just soliciting. But if you're bringing value and you're offering something to that person that they can take and use, it doesn't matter that it wasn't personal. It had value.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it really is about. The relationships that we build is what value are we bringing to those relationships. So I just want to touch on it real quick when we talk, before we get into the automated. Yeah, it sometimes can be a little impersonal, but that's how that depends on how we write our message to the people that we're reaching out to.
Absolutely. And I think that even if you're talking to a larger audience these days, it is easy to stay personal by using video, and letting people see a window into your life. Opening up a window into your life can be more personal while you're reaching a wider audience. Is that something you found?
This video helps too. It's very engaging. I love story.
Okay.
I love story,
Mhm.
like telling your story, personal stories, personal conflicts, challenges, things that people can relate to is always a nice place to go, because then people feel like they have more of a connection.
Mhm.
If you're opening up and you're sharing something, it doesn't have to be your deep, dark secrets, but it's just something like, man, in my business, I was really challenged at this one point, and I did this, and I thought it'd be really helpful. Or I found this book that I thought you would enjoy that helped me build my business, or, build systems or understand marketing. And it's that, once again, bringing that value and being open about sharing that
Mhm.
makes it personal, because it's not just the bigger, louder, billboard on the side of the road. It's something that, like, hey, this really helped me, and I'd love to help you with it.
Mhm. So I'm wondering here, what's the first step in how to build this relationship and get more referrals? How does someone who has never done it before, how do you get started when you're a new home inspector and you don't know how to build a relationship, or you don't know how to go get those first referrals? How do you start? Where's the resource you go to?
That is an awesome question right there. And the way Jim Rohn says it, the fortune is in the follow-up. So many times we go out to events, we ask for business cards with agents that we want to engage with, or they give us their card because they're curious about who we are. And then we just take that card and just set it on a desk, put it in a drawer, let them pile up. We even hold on to them because we know there's value. Like, that's somebody wanting to engage with us, but then we don't know what to say.
Yeah.
We decide not to call. Maybe we write one email and that's it. And it's like, well, I tried following up with them. No, most of us, I'm guilty. I had so many cards piled up, and then after like a week or two, I felt like I didn't follow up. So it's kind of late and I look bad following up now, and maybe I shouldn't. So I just dropped the ball. I just let it go, and I just did other stuff because I was like, well, they're going to think I was a flake. It took me 2 weeks to get back to them. Well, the reality is 50% of people, probably or more, never even do the first follow-up.
Yeah.
The first communication, whether it was a phone call or an email, just the first 50% are gone. And then by you get to the third touch point, 80% never did a third touch point. And until you actually start beginning some like awareness with the person you're pursuing, that's at about like 5 touch points for them to really get to an idea of who you are and that you're serious about really wanting to engage with them. It doesn't happen on the first one, but the first step is follow up. Fortune's in the follow up. If you're getting cards and you're not doing something afterwards, you're missing a huge opportunity. Especially if you go do a presentation in front of a room full of people that could be using your services or referring you. That could be, lots of leads right there. And if you got a list afterwards of all the attendees and then didn't do anything afterwards to follow up, opportunity. It's just opportunity. It's not like you lost a whole bunch, but you didn't take the opportunity that was given to you and really put it to work. So the first thing is follow up. It doesn't matter how simple or anything. It was a text. It was just an email. At least say, it was nice to meet you at, and then recap on your conversation. Hey, if there's anything I can do for you, please feel free to reach out to me at any time. Boom. That's going to change everything on all the relationships that you're trying to get with these new prospects and new agents. Just follow up. You're going to stand out from probably 75% of all the other inspection companies just because you followed up.
And I love what you said there about the idea, the sentiment of just doing it. I'm sure when I asked, how do you if you haven't done it before, how do you get into it? I'm sure that's the answer, is just do it. because there's a lot of, we've spoken to inspectors in the episodes prior about a lot of mental obstacles that you kind of put up yourself, right? And you get a little nervous and anxious about following up with someone, calling them on the phone, building that relationship with someone you don't know. But if you just do it, you just put yourself out there, just say something, anything, right? And is that what you see? Is if you just say anything and try to build that relationship, it will come?
Keep your message simple. Don't try to convince them. It's like, I don't know if you've ever had somebody come up to you and just tell you everything that they sell, drop a business card in your hand and off to the next person they can just try to market to. They don't want that. Realtors are very much about relationships, especially if you're going after real estate agents. They work with their clients. They get to know who their families are and their pet and everything in their backstory and have lunch with them. They're very much about relationships. And with their home inspector, they want a relationship. It doesn't have to be a very intimate relationship. I know they're not looking for that, but they want to at least have an idea of who you are and know that you're going to represent them well, because when they refer you, you become part of their team, a part of their service that they're offering to their client. I want to make sure you understand that. Their client. As much as we say they're our client because we're doing the home inspection, they're the ones that brought us to them. They're the ones that found the house. They're the ones that helped them do everything. It is their client. And when you understand that language, they'll respect you. And when you understand you're part of their team, helping them, they love it. And they want you to represent them well because they told somebody about you. So to get to that level, they have to know that they can trust you. What do you have to offer? Because every other inspector says, my inspection's the best. And I look at this. And I have this certification. And I used to do construction. And they heard it from everybody else.
Yeah.
Show them. Build a relationship with them. Show them that you care about their best interest and that you want to help them, not just get something from them. And so keep the message simple. It was nice to meet you. Had a really nice time talking to you. Love to know how I can help you and your clients. That's it. Don't worry about what to say. Just keep it simple.
Yeah.
Just say hi. They're more impressed that you reached out to them than everybody else who never said anything or just put them on a newsletter and just soliciting them.
Absolutely. So I see in your presentation, Istvan had sent me the notes, and I can actually, if we want to, Istvan, I can share them on this screen and show anything. But I'm very interested in this kind of timeline you have with the different contacts, because you're just talking about how impressed they'll be versus all the other people that didn't reach out. So Istvan has this prospect to consumer graph that shows, on contact 1, 43% of people have given up. On 68%, or on contact 2, 68% of people have given up. So what have you found by that with this graph you have here? Is it always getting to 7 contacts should be your goal, or even getting to 4? What does this graph show for you?
That's a great question. And yes, when you get to 5, they're starting to become aware of what your brand is. And you're already above, 80, 90% of all your competitors because you actually got to 5 touch points. That's when they know who you are. They can see that you're there. They become aware of your logo, your name, whatever it is that you've been presenting them. They're familiar at that point. And as you start to get to 7 to 9, that's when people are willing to buy. Now, that might be for all sales, but regardless, sales, marketing is sales. Marketing is lead generation. It's getting people in the door to buy something or to use our services. So however you want to look at it, it's sales. So how do I get to 7 to 9 touch points with somebody so that they're aware of who I am? So that agent has known so much about my company that they're willing to refer me to their next buyer. A lot of people just think it's like, well, they don't want to refer me. They don't like me. They don't this. That. Like, think about it from the realtor's perspective. If the realtor did, let's say, 10 a year, and they don't know who you are, and if you're going to scare off their buyer and they're going to risk losing 1/10 of their pay, is how they see it, that's scary. I want to make sure it's somebody that I know I can trust because I don't want to lose my commission. I want my buyer to find the house that they want, but I also want to get paid. I've been working with this person for 3 months or whatever it might be, right? So we got to get that trust. Getting up to the 7 touch points is a sweet spot. If you can push it to 9, I would do it. And it doesn't have to be 9 phone calls to that agent. There's different touch points, which we'll talk about a little bit later, but it's about making those touch points and continuing to engage with that agent to get them to that point where they are familiar with you. They know you, they like you, and now they want to maybe have a phone call with you and see if they really trust you and you're the person that can help their client.
All right, so we are going to take a moment to hear a word from our sponsor, but we will be right back.
The home inspection industry is highly competitive, and you need an edge to stay on top. You certainly can't afford to give profit away for no reason. But what if I told you credit card processors may be overcharging you and robbing you of profits you've worked hard to earn? It's time to put an end to being overcharged for payment processing. It's time to take back your profits. That's why we've put together a free report, How to Avoid Being Overcharged by Your Payment Processor. Head over to takebackyourprofits.com, download the report, and put an end to being overcharged for credit card processing. You've worked hard for your sales, and you deserve to keep it. What are you waiting for? Go to takebackyourprofits.com and download your report today.
Welcome back to the Inspection Pros podcast. We are back with Istvan Zsako to talk about now the 7 levels of communication. So we have shared the screen here for our viewers of the show. If you are our audience listening audibly on a podcast platform, I will tell you there's a picture here of a pyramid with some of the ways you can communicate, and just it has them all organized so you can see influential zones, informational zones, and the various impact. So I can put a link to this in the caption of the podcast for anyone listening who isn't able to see it now, or you can go on the YouTube and see it. But Istvan, let's get into this communication pyramid you have.
Yeah, the 7 levels of communication. If anybody hasn't read that book, highly recommend it if you want to be influencing people or getting in front of prospects and growing your business. It's a really amazing book that covers a lot of topics, and we're just covering one little, part of it that I took away a lot that connected with what I was already doing, and it just put it into something a little more like visual, and I love it. So you have your advertising. You got billboards, it's just ads, right? It's just getting your name out there, trying to get in front of a lot of people, hoping to get some hits. It's usually like numbers, it's big numbers. And sometimes some of that stuff you can't really track. It's very impersonal. It's just trying to get people aware of your company. Direct mailer, yeah, sure. Now it goes right to their house. You're targeting people, like you're targeting a certain area, new area you're moving into that you want to take a new territory. You want to start offering your services. That can be helpful. And then your electronic communications. You got texts, you got emails, you got newsletters you can send out. But these are just information zone things. They just talk more about your company, just who you are, what you do. It's not that influential. It doesn't make that much of an impact on the person. Now, when you start getting to handwritten notes, that one I really love, because when you start doing handwritten notes, that's personal. I wrote a card to somebody, and it starts getting, okay, well, we're making a little more of an influence here, right? Yeah. We're getting in front of somebody's, face, like when they won an award or hit a certain number of sales, and you're writing them like, dude, that's super awesome, man. Congratulations. And you don't make it a business thing. You don't throw a bunch of cards in there. Hey, anybody who can refer me. You just say thank you. Maybe your brand is like on the card somewhere, so it's subtle, but it's the connection that you were making. It's that handwritten note. And my experience, when I get a handwritten note, I keep it around. I usually sit it on my desk. It's nice. Yeah. And then other people see it and they're like, where's that from? Oh, this great home inspector sent me a card about the award there, whatever it is that I just got, they're like happy to share it. They're like, that's pretty cool. Yeah. Now you start getting to the more influential areas. This is more one-on-one or more communicating with somebody. Phone calls. We're all afraid to make phone calls. Mm-hmm. I understand that. Make the phone call. Reach out to them. Just say hi. You'd be surprised when they'll engage with you, and when they don't, they'll remember that you reached out to them. Yeah. And to make it easier, send them a gift. Send them an article. Send them something of value, and then make the phone call about that. And now it's not a cold call. Nice. It's just a follow-up. Hey, just wanted to see. I sent you something last week. Did you get it? Oh yeah, I did. Thank you. So that was really nice. Now it's like, that was really cool. You did that. They might actually want to engage you if they have the time and ask some questions about your services. Great opportunity. Now that you got events, web, seminars, like, so let's say like there's office meetings that we get to sponsor. Yeah, we got to pay a little bit for the lunch. Sometimes we might even get an invite to just be there. Got 5 minutes. 5 minutes is a lot. That is huge. But what do we say? Most of the time, once again, we make it about our business, what we're selling, why we're the best, why we do everything. And we think that that's what we need to tell agents because they are looking for a good home inspector.
But they want a good person? Is that
they
what
want one they trust? Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it totally makes sense.
They want one that they trust.
Yeah.
Yeah. But how good you are, every other home inspector that got in front of that group said the same thing, how good I am. So how do we bring value to it? Back to that other concept, being value to every conversation, every event or everything that we're a part of. Let's bring some value. What they really want, they want more leads. They want more sellers. They want more buyers. If you can teach them how to do that, it changes the game. Because they got a home inspector. They do. Maybe they'll add you as their second on the list, which is actually a pretty cool opportunity. I would never be offended if somebody said they'll put me as number 2. Yeah. That means when number 1 messes up, I'm number 1. So that's an opportunity. Yeah. But I'm going to bring value. I'm going to talk to them about what they want, the kind of things that their brokers would love to be hearing them, hear their agents being told. And all of a sudden, you remind them who you are, your company, what you do, and then they're raising their hands going, so could you tell me more about your inspection company? Because you went up there to tell them, I care about you and I know what your needs are and I want to help you get it. All of a sudden it's like, well, who are you? Because we may want to use you. We could help you out too. It's an amazing influence that you can have on people when you bring something of value. Yeah. And you can reach a room of 20 people, maybe 50, maybe 100, maybe 300, depending on the size of the room. Mm-hmm. It's a really huge impact.
Absolutely. And
then you got your...
Sorry, keep going.
Yeah. No, awesome. Then you got your one-on-one. This is one that some people do, but not many. And I can tell you, because not many are doing it, it'll put you above everybody else in your region. Everybody that, I don't like to use the word competitors, but your other home inspection companies that are going after these same agents. Mm-hmm. One-on-one. Take an agent out for coffee, take them out for lunch, and bring value to that conversation. Changes everything. If you can get a lunch or a coffee date with like a qualifying broker, you can influence a whole office with just 1 to 2 hour conversation with somebody. And I've seen that get me the most like loyal agents to my company. They spent time with me. They got to know who I was. They got to know my message, my purpose, everything, even some of my backstory from, living out in the woods in a tent and everything else. And they got to connect with me. They're like, I like this guy.
Yeah.
You all should be using his home inspection company. And it just changes everything. So the one-on-one, powerful. But even just to get to the point where you're doing office meetings and presentations, that's right up towards the top, and you're reaching a lot of people. And then if there's those key players that you want to go after, get the one-on-one. You can get that one-on-one, you will start making a huge impact on the area that you're in and start winning over some really big players that will send you lots of inspections and refer you to other top agents that'll continue to bring you more and more inspections. So if you're looking at scaling and growing, you need to get to the top of that, influential zone where you can really start making an impact on a lot of agents.
So if someone listening has someone that they want to do a one-on-one meeting with, what's the best way for them to get that meeting? Is it just as easy as saying, hey, want to go grab a coffee, or can I get you a coffee? What's the easiest way to get that one-on-one meeting?
I'd love to know more about what you do for your clients. Could we have coffee sometime?
I love that.
Oh, you want to hear about me? Yeah, definitely. Let's go sit down and have some coffee. People love to talk about themselves and ask questions. Get them to engage. Don't try to sell yourself.
Yeah.
Get them to engage. And then they're going to want to ask questions about you too.
All right. So that I love that. That's a great way to get someone to open up. Absolutely. Get that conversation. And I can see how this, not only are they all different levels, but I feel like they all play in together. You kind of use it to propel yourself forward by getting one and building to the next and to the next. So this is
That's right.
I think a very profound and important pyramid, because it lays it out there. All right, this is how you can communicate with people. You don't have to go reinvent the wheel. Here it is. It's been in a book for a while. It's been in use. So that is great. I'm gonna stop sharing this screen. So how do you automate this now? We've gone over all these different ways to communicate. Now I'm wondering, how do you automate this? Because I don't know how you automate a one-on-one meeting, but if you figured it out, I'm very interested.
Yeah. Well, once you get to the high, like, influential zone, that is you there engaging with people.
Yeah.
But that would be nice.
Yeah. It's
Working on that one. Maybe in the next podcast.
The bottom, the foundation, the legwork that you're building on to get to those influential zones at the top, you can automate that, and then that gets you to those, all the way up to those phone calls and one-on-one meetings. Is that what it is?
Correct. You can automate all the way to the phone call.
Mm-hmm.
You can even essentially automate a phone call that goes straight to a voicemail if you wanted to, and then from there get people engaged with you. But remember, we were talking about the 7 to 9 touch points. They all don't have to be a phone call.
Mm-hmm.
So one could be, maybe you already have a newsletter in place. That's one touch point going on. Then you got, your follow-up email that you sent out. Then you got a text. Then you send them something, a gift. That's a great touch point, very personal. Handwritten card, you're starting to get up there. And then after you send something, do the phone call. So now you've already done most of the stuff that's at the low level all the way to the influential zone, and you automated it. So when I say automated it, let's say you come up with a follow-up process where I'm going to do the emails, texts, phone call, emails, all the way down. You lay out this process. And you could keep it as simple as, well, I don't know how to build something and I can't pay somebody to do it yet because I'm a small startup company. Okay, that's fine. Start with the spreadsheet. It could be that simple, but follow the spreadsheet. Have it laid out on this day, this day, this day. I do these events and do it. Have templates already built out. So you just drop them in an email and send them out. All you got to do is put their name on it. Make it as simple as you possibly can so that you can do it repetitively and reach out to a lot of people at the same time. Now, when you're a company at my size, last year we had, just shy of 3,000 transactions. That's a lot of new agents coming in. I think our new agents on the listing and the buying side was just over 1,000 new agents.
Wow.
That use us for the first time or engage with our company for the first time. So how do I follow up with 1,000 people, and 9 touch points? I'm like, that's 9,000 things I have to do on top of my already busy list. So you automate it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of programs out there, Active Campaigns, there's Infusionsoft, there's Keep, there's all this stuff going on out there. And top of mind campaigns just popped up. That's what I'm using. And you suddenly create a system where it's automated, where your agents go in there and it tracks them, and everything's already put in there, pre-filled emails, pre-filled texts, reminders for phone calls that come back to you to tell the agent that, hey, we just sent them something, call them. You can even automate a brownie. You can automate a gift. You can automate so many things.
Really?
It's just a matter of building it out. And once it's built out, it becomes this machine that's running in the background to help get you more leads by building relationships with those new agents.
So what does your automated system look like now? With top of mind, it's Tom campaigns, correct, that you're using? So with that,
yes.
What's the system look like? Is it that it's a call? I'm just curious what this looks and feels like, the system.
Yeah. So everything that we talked about, I automate my postcard. Mm-hmm. I automate the emails going out. I have articles that I send to the agents. The first phone call is to see if they got the article that we sent them. So it's not a cold call. It doesn't even have to be a sales team person, could be one of your client coordinators making that phone call, just following up. And if they didn't, they got the email and the link right there in their notification. They'll say, oh, well, I'll send it again to you.
Wow.
Have a great day. But the idea is to try to engage them in a conversation. If they don't want to, that's okay. Keep it simple. Have a wonderful day. Don't be pushy. We want to build a relationship. And then it goes on to other emails. And it's just a matter of the process is already set up so you don't have to think about it. And the extra step that I took, because I love automation, is I don't want to be taking data from one platform to another platform. So I automated it.
Yeah.
I go do a home inspection, and after the home inspection's done, the data goes somewhere else. The data gets filtered to see if it's an agent that we've, like, our first time working with. And if they are, let's put them through the follow-up process and let's follow up and see if we can build a relationship with them to get more referrals. Because one of the interesting facts is most CRMs that I've looked at, whether it's ISN, Spector, or wherever, business that's been in a while for a couple of years, 65% on average of the data of the contacts in their system between the agents, 65% of them are listing agents, meaning non-referral agents, people that are not talking about you, not using you, not bringing you buyers, which means we're all sitting on a gold mine. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. We have data that we can start putting to work, and we could drip them into campaigns and see if we can build that relationship with them. And then your buyer's agents, most companies, it's almost half of the buyer's agents that are on your list did one inspection and never came back. One, because we didn't build a relationship with them, they never came back.
Sure.
And if you count the one and the two, that's probably like 75 to almost 80% of your agents.
So
what if we could build relationship with them so that it never gets to them leaving?
Exactly. That's the question I was going to ask. What if? What do the metrics look like? What, using this system, what have your numbers changed from? Like, from when you didn't have an automated system and now you do, and you now build these relationships, do you see that you're getting agents for longer, or just are there numbers that you can point to and say, wow, there has been a big change?
The numbers that I've seen so far, just looking back a couple of years, my conversion rate of agents that were already in the system that became a buyer's agent was like around 10 to 12%. And this last year running, Tom campaigns, it was a little over 15%. So just from over last year, it was, I want to say off the top of my head, like 28% growth or something like that. So that's a lot of new agents. And if I took all those agents, those specific conversions, and I took all their inspections that they did, last time I looked at it, it ended up being like another $45,000. Just the ones extra, not all the conversions. All the conversions was well over 200,000. But just if I had said, well, 72% would have converted anyway. So what's the extra that I got on top of that? That was well over 40 grand.
So I'm wondering what a percentage in the increase of them becoming like agents that are giving you more business to increase in revenue. It's just, obviously it all makes sense and it all flows. It makes sense. Why would you automate this?
You asked the second part, which I didn't address, I think. Yeah. And that's like, how many of them are actually sticking around for that second transaction? So we're still getting data on that. That takes a little more to dig into to like really pull that out. But what I can say, when I pulled the list of all the agents that had converted, meaning they were not a buyer's side when I started doing this and now they are, I had like, I don't even remember the number, but I know when it came to like the top producers, we had a bunch that were like 15 transactions in the last year, 10 transactions in the last year, 8, even 7, even just getting 5 is pretty awesome. But we had a bunch of big agents that we converted that led us to get a whole lot of inspections that we were not getting from that contact before we started marketing to them.
Wow. So if anyone listening to this podcast wants to know how to do this or has questions for you, Istvan, or about this system, where should they look? Should I have them reach out to you? Are you willing to talk about this with audience members? What do you recommend for someone who's going to turn off this podcast and say, wow, I really have to go do this, but I might have a few questions?
Yeah, excellent. Well, first you can go to my website and find some information if you want to see, what I am doing in my company. And once again, it was just a response to COVID. I had to do something to get in front of agents, and this was a great thing to put in place. But you can go to tomcampaigns.com, and there you can get some information, see what else we're doing. We have some great forms that you can use after networking, which is really cool, because I always drop the ball after an event. But imagine I get a card, fill out a form, throw away the card, and now I'm saying hello, it's good to see you, and marketing to them without having to do anything. It's so cool. But so it talks about that on the website. And if you want to reach out to me directly, send me an email, office@tomcampaigns.com. Yeah, and just say, hey, I'm interested in what you're doing, or I had some questions about, how to do something. I'm here to help. I love to see people taking the initiative to try something new, and especially something that's showing good results. It's it may not be the secret sauce, but it's one extra road to your business that's going to drive more traffic.
Absolutely. So thank you so much, Istvan, for joining us today and giving us this great information. And thank you for offering for additional information if anyone wants to reach out. And definitely go visit his website. I will put a link to your website in the caption of this podcast as well. So thank you to everyone for tuning in this week. Istvan, thank you for joining us. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Jake.
All right, so I'm sure we'll see you back again. We have a great list of podcast guests joining us in the coming weeks. Very excited to bring you some great insights and experiences like always. So thank you for tuning in to the Inspection Pros podcast, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening to the Inspection Pros podcast. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and smash that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit the bell so you won't miss our next episode. This episode was produced by Jake Aronson. This has been a Pair Payments production.